Hi everyone, thank you for dropping by. It's time for episode 1 of Gladiators Review. Okay, let's get straight into it. I'll be mainly focusing on the Gladiators and the events today, starting with event 1, the iconic duel. The first Gladiator up to open the show was Nitro. He looked nervous but determined and he dominated, winning the game, eventually knocking the contender off. Giant was next. He looked like he wanted to take the contender's head from his shoulders, and he would have as well if the contender had stayed up there for more than just 2 hits. Next for the ladies we had Diamond, and she looked ready for action. Unfortunately, she didn't manage to get the contender off in time. And last in this event we had Fire, and I thought she looked nervous, but she managed to get the contender off with 5 seconds left. She seemed bubbly and very good natured in the post-game interview. No complaints so far. A few things that I noticed in this event: the platform was not at all wobbly. There was minimum movement, unlike in the Sky 1 version where it shook like a mini earthquake. Okay, slight exaggeration, but it definitely moved more. Of course they had no water to fall into like in the 2008-2009 Sky 1 version of the show either. Right, moving on. Game 2, Collision. Now this was announced as a brand new game, and it was also a variation of an old game, Hit and Run. The original wasn't the greatest game or the most fun for the Gladiators, but I'm sure it was fun for the contenders. I think I purged it out from my mind. 4 of us stood 2 aside, throwing large balls at the contenders' heads as they ran across the floppy bridge, pressing the buzzer on either side. In one game I knocked off both contenders, and that was fun, but this version seemed a lot more fun. In this variation, they run across the floppy bridge with a ball and pop it in a basket at each end. I'd prefer to play this instead, really. Let me know if you remember what Hit and Run was like and which version you prefer. The groin in the face action wasn't the greatest, so I can't just gloss over this part of the game. When we swung the large balls to knock them off, of course it wasn't close and personal, but running across that bridge as some lump of muscle swings on a trapeze with the greatest of ease, hurtling towards your face before landing its person in the most awkward manner possible, can't be great. I hope they offered the contenders therapy. The 4 gladiators lining up for this were Steel, Viper, Legend and Giant. Legend plays a good heel, and Viper, dude, you crack me up. I hope he keeps that face going through the whole of the series. I can't wait to hear him speak. I've got to say, well done my man for getting disqualified. Hey, don't blame Viper for not getting a copy of the rulebook. And it looks like Steel uses backside to bash Miles in the face was a line I never imagined I would hear on Gladiators. And there was this non-scripted joke from Bradley Walsh which tickled him a bit, and it was a good one. So females turn, we had Dynamite, Fire, Electro and Athena. They were good games, and they knocked them both off, and they looked like they were having a good time doing it. And Athena had a nice walk on, one of the best so far, in my opinion. Game 3, The Ring. Now this is a new game. Now I thought this may have been a substitute for Powerball, which upset me a little bit as Powerball was my favourite game to play. It wasn't. Get to the centre and press the buzzer was the premise of this game, all whilst the gladiator wrestles you to the floor. Similar to Powerball, but a buzzer instead of buckets. Seeing the large game area made me make the comparisons. It's not as good as Powerball in my opinion, but I've never played this one, so who knows, not me. The good news for me anyway was in the closing credits of the show, I do believe that I saw a quick shot of a Powerball bucket, or I'll call it that. I'm not actually too sure what they're called, to be honest. I can't wait to see the game. Nitro would definitely be in there. And even though I was disappointed at first, it was actually a very good game, this Ring. I would have liked to play this. It was good rough and tumble, the Gladiators and contenders all doing well. For the males we had Phantom and Apollo. They had good personalities, very, very tall guys indeed. Now females we had Sabre and Dynamite. Our Sabre introduction walk was very good. I think the ladies are well up on this category so far. Dynamite isn't the tallest gladiator, so she struggled in this game a little bit. Sabre did well. Now game 4, another iconic game and a fan favourite, we got the Gauntlet. And a Gauntlet is a bit of a strange game really. For the contenders, you stand at the start line and you look down at the gladiators, and it must be intimidating. The fact is that it's a lot easier for them to get to the end than you may think at first. Some of the pads are as good as using a lump of butter in your hands to catch a slippery fish. There are techniques to get through there quickly. I'm not going to give you the secrets, but they're not really secrets. All you have to do is watch a few games and you'll figure it out. Some of the secret moves are legal in the game, but probably won't be stopped or even caught by the referee. The problem with this game for the contenders is even if you do go through, there's a high possibility of injury, and we saw that with one of the contenders in this episode. Now the males, we had Viper, Phantom, Steel and Apollo, and some of the secret moves we used here, but that's okay. In the female game we had Electro, Athena, Fury and Diamond. They did a good job of slowing down the contenders. Athena, the powerlifter, and Fury looked good. Yeah, you can see the strength there. This game is a hard game for the Gladiators to shine. The first few have to bash the contenders as much as they can to slow them down, to give the last Gladiator a chance to finish the job. And when it's done correctly, it looks beautiful. As the series goes on, no doubt the Gladiators will work out their way of stopping them, and the contenders will learn also. Game 5, Hang Tough, another iconic game. And we got Nitro and Legend in this one, and this was one of the funniest and strangest parts of this show with the first contender. You'll have to watch it to see. Very strange. And the females, we had Sabre, who wouldn't give up, and she was very good. And Fury in her second game finally got her walk on, and it was a strong one. She got the contender off with ease. And there you go. Those were the Gladiator challenges, and only the iconic Eliminator was left for the contenders to complete. And the contenders, Finlay and Kerry, got through to the next round. Well done to those two. Now, in my conclusion this episode, starting with the Gladiators themselves, I wanted more heels. And with the female Gladiators, you don't really have the same type of heel as you do with the males. It would have been good to see a little bit more toughness from the ladies, not out and out aggression, but a little bit extra left on top, so to speak. I'm also not too sure at this point as to how many heels the males have. Legend and Viper, of course. Is Giant? I'm not too sure. He probably doesn't need to do much apart from just be him, to be fair. He doesn't really need to try and intimidate. Hopefully there was sufficient distance between Gladiator and contender backstage. It keeps the edge on the competition. Now the production seemed slick. It was a nice touch when they showed the cameras in the dressing room. Was it actually the dressing room or part of the set? I don't know. But the BBC has spent a few pennies on this series for sure. The set looked great, the Gladiators looked fantastic. What more could you want? The female Gladiators had the best walk-on moves as a whole thus far. And out of the Gladiators, I think Fire and Viper are probably my favourites. I'd say that the Walshes did a good job. The leg end joke by Bradley was there, so why not take it? I'd drop that one myself given half the chance. That's what the show is all about, it's not just a sporting event, it's also a bit of panto. I've watched him in various shows he's presented before. He's always done a good job, and I'm not a fan, but I'm also not an anti-fan. His son Barney did a competent job also. I've never seen him before, and like many, I had my reservations. The father and son team didn't sit right with me, to be honest. Also, two males, or even if it were two females, I would have preferred one of each. All Lion of us could do is watch how they fit into the roles, but I'm sure they'll be okay. I mentioned for the referee Mark Clattenburg. Now, only John Anderson is a John Anderson, so there's no point in trying to compare, but he did an okay job like you'd expect. Just one red card shown. The next show we'll be getting introduced some of the other Gladiators, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. I'll be back again next week with my thoughts after watching episode 2. So if you have any questions, don't be shy. And also don't forget to subscribe, as that will encourage me in my efforts. Thank you for watching. I'm going off to watch episode 2.